Good morning. Shall I use the mic or I can do without mic? Since I am in lecture, I can project loudly. Mic? Okay. Good morning. I am Mokbul Ahmed. I am a faculty member here in AIT. I mostly teach international development, community development, and climate change, particularly adaptation to climate change. I also do some work on human conflicts. And it's a pleasure to talk to you people like you. And I must tell you that if you want to share anything with me in terms of questions, opinions, you please raise your hand and I'll be happy to discuss or elaborate any of the issues which I'm trying to raise in a couple of minutes now. At the same time, I hope you have seen the program. My interaction with you today will be mostly in two stages. I will be giving a lecture on the technologies on adaptation to climate change. I will be mostly using my own research and some other research, other people's research to share my ideas with you. Then we will have a small break. Then we will have a small exercise which I will be with you. We will make 2 or 3 groups and then we will do a small exercise and then we wrap up our discussion. Actually, after this session, I want you to hear from you how we can improve our learning, particularly on adaptation to climate change. I hope most of you are aware what is adaptation to climate change. If I can make it very broad, climate debate or climate change debate has 3 major components. One is climate science, another is mitigation to climate change, another is adaptation to climate change. Climate science, I think by definition is very clear. It talks about how the scientific world, or I would say science itself, explains, try to understand, at the same time try to foresee the future of climate by using scientific data. That is climate science. Climate mitigation is very much straightforward to mitigate the effect of climate change on us. That means our earth, our people, our environment, and of course, everybody. Adaptation mostly works on how we can adapt to this changing climate, because we have to accept some of the changes and we have to live with this changing climate. So adaptation is one of the options for climate change. Of course, mitigation is there. Okay? So, sorry. What I am going to do, I will be mostly talking about, or I would say, sharing some of the recent works done on adaptation to climate change. Mostly adaptation technologies, which are, I would say, sometimes practiced very widely, sometimes not practiced very widely. But I will be happy to hear from you. And of course, we will do the exercise in the second part of our session today. How we can improve our adaptation ability and how we can look for new technologies to adapt to this changing climate. As I put here, what exactly adaptation means to us, I hope I don't need to explain to you. And I also expect, if you don't mind, you are aware of the famous organization called IPCC, the global body working on climate change. And this is a widely known organization working on climate change. I have used that definition for our discussion. But I have also used the definition of technology, particularly adaptation technology. Broadly, technologies are 3 types, as you can see here. Hard technologies, very much conspicuous technologies which are available, we can see, we can define. Next one, soft technology. My skill, my insight, my knowledge. That is the very useful technology I must have with me. I must know that there is a problem. I need to work for it. I must venture into certain activities to improve my activities, to improve my way of life. So I need to have access to soft technologies, my knowledge, my skill. Very important for me, for my society. Next one, probably a very important one. Some people say this is equally important compared to these two. I might have a technology, but the technology might be in the laboratory, might be in the document. It has to be applied. People should be using it. If it does not happen, it's a serious problem. Many technologies remain in the laboratory, they remain in the exhibition, but not in our household, in our rooms, in our offices, in our public spaces. We must have application of technology. We must work for it. That's why there are people who strongly argue that hardware is equally important. Any comments on this? So this is what I am trying to start our discussion with you. Oh, sorry. I think I am struggling with this. As you can see, if I look for technologies for climate change, I could do it by sector. I can take one sector, water sector. Water is scarcer, and it will be more scarcer if the climate change continues to happen. I hope all of you know that. If it is going to happen, what shall I do? I can have a long list of technologies. I can harvest my rainwater. I can develop community irrigation systems to adapt to climate change. If I go by sector, only for coastal erosion and flooding, I can have a long list of technologies. So, to update you on that, nowadays people develop technologies. People work by sector, usually, sometimes not by sector. They make broad classification and then they work on them. And policymakers, in many cases, prefer to do it by sector. That's why I have started our discussion with you. As you can see here, I'm starting with the pointer. Maybe I will, if you don't mind, we can start. So I can very quickly, if you ask me or if we think of seeing the difference between adaptation and mitigation technologies, before I start my discussion with examples, which I will be doing mostly in my presentation today, there is a big difference between adaptation and mitigation technologies. To make it very simple for you, as you can see, that adaptation is an ongoing process. I cannot say this technology is a more or less a final one. Adaptation is a continuing technological process. It continues to change, or I would say evolve over the years, over time, with changing scenario. It's a continuous process. And very few technologies are very much focused. Some are very much broadly defined, and they are usually cheap, not capital intensive. If you compare, broadly, adaptation technologies are cheaper than mitigation technologies. Not always, usually. And you can see that It's very difficult to measure the benefit of adaptation technologies compared to mitigation technologies. It's not that easy. It's a bit difficult. Some technologies are very conspicuous, that's why I can easily measure them. Next one is very important. How the technology transfer will take place. The technology has come, it has to be transferred from the laboratory to the people's household, to the public places, from the developed country to the developing country. North-south transfer. Are you aware of that, north-south transfer? North-south transfer means the transfer from the rich world to the poor world. That is called north-south transfer. And in many cases, adaptation technology is risk management. I know that there is a risk, I try to manage the risk. That is adaptation. So, with this background, in many countries, if I try to see what are my options available, I can update you very briefly. I'm sorry. Many countries have been advised by the UN, particularly UNFCCC. You can go to the website, United Nations Fund for, the Germany-based UN agency. IPCC is another key agency. UNFCCC usually helps poor countries to develop their policies and improve their climate change capacity. So what they have done, they have helped many countries to develop some documents. You can easily go to your country and check by Google search what your country has done. Two, or I would say at least two documents are very important for our insight on climate change activities. One, particularly in the case of NAPA, National Adaptation Program for Action. Many countries, particularly the poor countries, were funded or helped by the UN agencies to develop their own NAPA. You must have a national policy to work on climate change, particularly adaptation. NAPA is a key document. So, with this, oh my God, I'm struggling. Oh, sorry. Why it is like that? If I try to know what technology I will be following, why I will be doing that, why I not be doing that, I can keep some, just to make it very brief for you, I'm sorry. I can very quickly, I can keep those things in my mind. Whenever I work for a technology for climate change, I must know the benefits. Then I know the cost, how much it will cost to me. Then I'll keep another thing very important in my mind. What is the level of uncertainty? Because I know climate is changing. I must be inputting them in my planning model. Level of uncertainty and my ability to work in that uncertain situation. So I can easily, also finally, it's very important to understand the behavior. Human behavior is difficult to predict. What I am doing today, I might not be doing the same tomorrow. Human behavior is fairly unpredictable. I should try my best to have a closer look or to be as close as possible to the possible human behavior. Is it clear to you now? It's very important. How do I, say for example, I develop a technology, but I have a feeling that the technology will be very good. Yes, but whether people will adopt it is a difficult question. People have to be convinced the technology is good enough for them, for their livelihood. A farmer, a fisherman, a farmer has to be convinced that this technology will be good for his farm. He can have higher production. He can have a certain or level of production in his farm if he uses this technology. Farmer has to be convinced. or farmer has to be clear about it. Otherwise, he will not be very enthusiastic to adopt my technology. Same with the fisherman, same with a typical rural poor household or even a non-poor household. We must keep those in our mind. Say for example, very quickly, adaptation technology is, if I can do it very quick for you. Sea level is rising. I can go back. Can I? I can accommodate. I don't go back. I raise my height, plinth. Or I plan to resist by doing something. To start our discussion on the technologies for adaptation. What shall I do? Depends on me. What people do, what people are likely to do. Any comments? Anybody has any quick take on this? Can I foresee what people will do? Second, I can force people. I can force people to move from here to here. Isn't it? I come in the morning, I force them. Leave this place, go there. Or I can convince people it is a good idea that you move from here to here. Can I? It's up to me. So adaptation technology sometimes is very enthusiastic, sometimes it is enforced. Okay? So let us go gradually into the debate. That is called planned retreat. I can accommodate and I can make my resilience by a physical infrastructure. I can do that. As you can see, some of the key issues before I go into examples, which I will do very shortly. I will be focused on a number of options. I can do just retreat, I can do a very planned retreat. I can accommodate myself and I can create public awareness. Don't worry, you're still there. But be careful, sea level is rising. These will be the consequences. Now you decide. I can make a national plan. As I told you a few minutes ago, many governments, including the governments from where you are from, have a very clear document what they will do for climate change. They have their own data. So I can change my land use also. I'm starting. You can see long list. To save time, if you don't mind, I will be skipping that. I don't know what is going on. Just to work on sea level rise, what I can do, I know the sea level will be rising and I can make a range. For 100 years, it is 3 meters. So I demarcate 3 meters. And I can make my plan accordingly. I can make my infrastructure. I can plan deforestation. I will talk about deforestation very shortly. I can also make people prepare. The people are aware there is something wrong and I must do something. For sea level rise, for example. Oh my God. I can have a long list of this. I'm sorry, because of time, I'm not going to discuss those with you. Just, I feel that I should make aware the current debate. In case of climate change, particularly adaptation, a major issue is this one, vulnerability assessment. I must know the level of vulnerability of my people, of my farm, of my fish farm, of my forest, I must know the level of vulnerability. That is called vulnerability assessment. I must do long-term research. So, to all this, I can make a long list, as I told you.